Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us on such short notice today. Hope everybody is well. Again, thank you for the short time here. With us, we have Stuart Rechner. Stuart, as you all know, is the MD and Chairman of the Board of Strategic Energy. Stuart, welcome.
Thank you, Greg. Pleased to be here.
You know, today is really, a transformational day in the company's history. You know, we've really been waiting for, I'd say, about 3 years. It's been very, very quiet, but Stuart's been putting together a really impressive, gold copper assets, both up in Queensland and down in South Australia, and he's going to touch on them. But what I think is also just really important to note is that, Stuart has put everything together. The stock has been very quiet over the last 3 years, but today is a transformational day from a capital point of view, but even more important, there's going to be a lot of news flow, I'd say, between now and over the next 12 months about the various drilling holes and prospects that are out there that, frankly, even if one of them is successful, it will make the stock price do multiples. Anyway, but before I turn it over to you, Stuart, one factor, my partner just wants to have a couple of words, and then we'll go from there.
Thanks, Greg, and looking forward to Stuart and what you've got to say. So, yeah, as Greg said, this was just a matter of time, and we're very excited to be lead manager and help you raise the funds. And it's very exciting what you're going to use the funds for. I think the company's in a great position now, and hopefully we'll all see good returns. So we've been pretty picky with regards to an opportunity like this, but it came around, and it came around pretty quickly, and we made it all happen. I won't tell everyone in how long, because maybe I'll know why there's bags underneath your eyes, Stuart. Mine too. Yeah, so we're pretty excited. So over to you, Stuart.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you, Greg, and welcome to all participants in today's call. I'll start with a little bit of an introduction about myself, and then I'll talk about SER and what we're hoping to achieve over the next 12 months. I'm a third-generation mineral explorer. So my grandfather worked underground in the gold mines of Kalgoorlie. My father was a geophysicist, geologist, made a number of significant discoveries, and now it's my turn. Over the last number of years have been assembling what we believe to be some of the best copper gold ground in Australia, and that process is complete, and we're ready to get out there and start drilling, and we'd love for you to join us on that journey. I'll share my screen now and show you some of what we're trying to do at SER. Can everyone see my screen? Sean? Excellent, thank you. This is a photo that was taken in December last year at our Saxby Gold Project, where we had some great success, and I'll get right into it. So our flagship project is the Saxby Gold Project in Queensland. It's a high-grade gold discovery that at present has 3 thick, high-grade intersections of gold, and we can't wait to get back out there and continue drilling. Our second-tier projects are copper-gold exploration projects in South Australia and the Northern Territory. At Mile Creek in South Australia, we have a joint venture partner being Fortescue Metals, and we are free carried, and they have to drill in order to earn their interest. Further north in South Australia at Colina, we've secured a long recognised geophysical anomaly that was tested in the 1970s, but the drilling failed to reach the target. And our intent is to re-drill that hole and hit the target. And in the Northern Territory, we entered a competitive tender and won some highly prized copper gold ground surrounded by Newcrest. Then our third package of assets are legacy industrial mineral assets that we hold that are of significant value. So we have a substantial heavy mineral sands resource in Western Australia that's 100% ours, that's surrounded by operating heavy mineral sands mines. We also have a royalty over a graphite mine that we used to own and sold and kept the royalty. And we have a large shareholding in a graphene technology company that came about as a result of our association with the graphite mine. So those industrial mineral assets, we're not actively dedicating more funds towards them. However, they may well result in value for the company. And this table shows the capital structure, number of shares on issue, and the key personnel. Firstly, I'd like to talk about Saxby, our flagship project. This slide here is from Newcrest late last year, showing the areas that they believe to be most warranting further exploration for gold in Australia. We're focusing here on the Mount Isa Eastern Succession, which is host to a large number of Tier 1 and Tier 2 copper gold deposits and is recognised as one of the most heavily mineralised terrains on the planet. Where we're looking is off the outcrop area. So the pink area shows the rocks that are exposed on the surface. And you can see in the magnetics that those rocks continue under cover of sand and sediments further to the north. The area that's outcropping has been very extensively explored. There's been very little exploration of the area that lies undercover, and undercover exploration for copper and gold is our specialty. This slide zooms in a bit on the prospectivity of the area as defined by the federal government, Geoscience Australia. Our ground is shown in blue with our high-grade gold hits in the yellow star. We've got Newcrest to the south and Red Metal to the north. Now zooming right into where drilling at Saxby has occurred. The original discovery hole at Saxby was drilled a long time ago by Anglo-American who were looking for nickel. And they were targeting electromagnetic conductors undercover. They drilled this hole here. And at the end of the hole, they hit 9 meters at 11 grams per ton gold, which is not what they were looking for, but is a very spectacular serendipitous intersection. They immediately farmed it out to a gold company, Anglo Gold Ashanti, who came along and drilled a series of other holes. You can see them in blue here on this orientation. And this hole here hit another thick high-grade intersection, 8 meters at 15 grams per ton gold, another spectacular intersection. And you can see that in the dotted line in red, that's where we believe the gold trend runs. Now, Anglo Gold Ashanti's holes were slightly off that trend. They believed it ran in a different orientation. And I'm very forgiving very understanding that you shouldn't try and judge explorers in hindsight. It's a very difficult task, and I've made similar mistakes myself. However, my hypothesis is that those blue holes did not correctly test the trend as it lies undercover. So late last year in December, we came back and put this hole down directly in the middle of the two historic hits, which are 200 meters apart, to test our hypothesis that the red line represents the true orientation. And that hole came in with another spectacular intersection, 6 meters at 12, really confirming in our mind the view that the orientation is of that nature. You can see also on the left-hand slide a long section. So that's a view looking from the west at this plane. And you can see the 3 pierce points where the drill holes hit. We're already at 200 meters length. We're at 150 meters height. The intersections are about 10 meters thickness each if you bring the grade down to 10 grams per ton, nice round number. So we're already looking at a significant volume of mineralization. I've also thrown in a slide from our recent drilling highlighting that in certain parts of the intersections there are ultra high grade zones. We're talking 50 grams per ton and higher, real bonanza grade material. Looking more regionally at Saxby, let's zoom out from this real zoom in. You can see on the right, the area that I'm circling with my cursor, that's where we've just been zoomed in, where all the high grade hits are. This map of the magnetics shows that that linear structure we're targeting continues for at least 2 kilometers. So there's a great deal of area untested there's never been any drilling along that structure to the south. So that certainly warrants further follow-up. On the right, I've included a map showing the outcrop, as in those rocks which show on the surface in a kind of a beige color here, and you can see how densely mineralized that is with copper gold deposits. Even off the outcrop in the cover, you've got Ernst Henry here, another tier 1 world-class deposit. And we're simply following that outcrop further north under the cover and targeting mineralization there. That's really a key advantage for us. It's one of the most heavily mineralized terrains, but very little exploration under the sands. I'll now move from Saxby Gold Project to our copper gold projects in Central Australia, both South Australia and Northern Territory. Colina lies in the Olympic copper gold province. So luckily Australia has many of the most heavily mineralized provinces in the world. This is another one that hosts the supergiant Olympic Dam copper gold deposit, which will be mining long after we're all dead. And Prominent Hill, another giant ore body. Since the discovery of Olympic Dam back in the 70s, it's been understood that gravity and magnetics are the keys to targeting in this area, and the key anomalies have been well understood. We bid for and won an area covering one of the historic anomalies that was drilled in the 1970s by Newmont. They drilled 2 holes there, one of them about 100 meters deep, one of them about 399 meters deep, and those holes failed to reach basement and the anomaly was never explained. In February, we came back and did a very detailed ground gravity survey, of which you can see in the top right corner, revealing a classic bullseye density anomaly. That anomaly was already understood from the 70s, but now we have extremely high resolution targeting of that anomaly, and it demands to have a drill hole put down to test and explain why there is a very dense body down there. In the bottom right, I've included the gravity responses of some of the key copper gold deposits within the Olympic copper gold domain, including Olympic Dam and many others. And you can see the similarities in the gravity response from Colina and those known mineral deposits. So with this kind of copper gold mineralization, you either know you're in it or you're not. So it's a single drill hole, deep hole into the target bullseye, and we'll know the answer. Moving further south in the same province to Mile Creek, this is the project that we've joint ventured with Fortescue. You can see on the right our 2 tenements in blue that we held prior to Fortescue entering the area. They obviously liked our theory and have pegged every single bit of ground all around us here in red. They then approached us to do a farm-in, to which we agreed, but we insisted that it must include 1,500 metres of drilling. So we're free carried until they complete that drilling, at which point we both will contribute to future exploration. Further north in the Northern Territory, I'll talk about our East Tenant project. So this again is back to Newcrest's slide showing their key areas. This is another one of their areas. This ground was identified because the federal government spent nearly $100 million conducting geophysical surveys and including seismic work, magnetics, gravity, electromagnetics, and revealed a series of structures linking the Tennant Creek mineral field and the Mount Isa mineral field that had received little to no exploration in the past. An auction was held for this area in red, polygon on the left, and over 50 companies applied, including us, Newcrest, and many others, to win that ground. In the top right, you can see a image showing the ground that SER won in black and the ground that Newcrest won in blue, and the background image is the copper gold prospectivity map as defined by the federal government. So we won some key areas there, and if you look in the bottom right, you can see our red tenement here covering this density belt with Newcrest surrounding us to the north, east and southwest. Importantly for us, the Mineral Exploration Cooperative Research Centre, which is a $200 million plus body designed to explore new frontiers in Australia, they will be drilling a large number of holes in this region adjacent to and nearby SER's ground. That's planned to occur later this year. So that will be another opportunity where drilling will be occurring right up on the boundary of our ground and giving key insights. Any sniff of any discovery in that government drilling will obviously have a significant impact on SER. I'll now talk quickly about our 3 industrial mineral assets down here shown in dark grey. Firstly, in Western Australia, we have the Ambergate Heavy Mineral Sands deposit, which we own 100%. We won that ground by application. We then delineated a JORC resource. We then expanded that resource and increased the tonnage. And at present, it sits at 569,000 tonnes of heavy mineral. We've conducted an internal techno-economic study of the viability of that deposit, and that has been very encouraging to us. However, it must be noted that in the immediate vicinity of Ambergate, in the order of 10 kilometres away, there are a number of operating heavy mineral sands mines with heavy mineral sand concentrators, some of which are approaching depletion. The southern mine here, Yungarillup, owned by Doral, will have its resource depleted in the next 6 months. Iluka's deposit has already depleted, and Wonerup has a few years left. Part of our strategy would include the potential sale of Ambergate to one of these existing miners. In South Australia, we hold a 1.5% gross revenue royalty over the fully permitted and previously in production Yulee graphite mine. The new owners of the mine have recently completed a ore reserve and mining study. So that's another legacy asset that may yield value for SER. And finally, we are the 9% shareholder of Australia's first graphene company, which is a public unlisted company which may list, and that may also result in further value for SER. So, in summary, what are we going to try to achieve in the next 12 months? Top priority is Saxby. We're already doing our final work on the drill core to squeeze every last bit of information to help us target the next holes. And we plan in the next quarter to get the rig back to Saxby and start drilling. The key goal being to extend the structure to the north and south. Also, in the next year, we will explore our copper gold projects by putting a deep hole into Colina. FMG will hopefully complete their geophysics and drill at Mile Creek, and the government will be drilling at East Tenant. And finally, we have the potential to realise additional value from those valuable industrial mineral assets that we own. Thank you, everyone, for your attention.
Stuart, thank you very much for the detailed overview. And I think just summing it up, you know, our big thought process, and, you know, Stuart, correct us if we're wrong, is that, you know, here is a company that, you know, really it's been incredibly quiet for the last 3 years. They've assembled a whole number of exciting projects. From our perspective, even if one of them wins, you know, the stock price, you know, will have a tremendous reaction. And, you know, and then, you know, the transformational event of having the capital raise today, that gets us to the point to seeing through all this news flow that we're going to see probably starting in, you know, Q3, you know, calendar Q3, Q4, and moving on over the next 12 months, whereas, you know, we've heard nothing from, you know, over the last 36 months. So, you know, that's really what has attracted us to it. And Stuart, you know, we really think it's a fantastic story. Just in the audience, admittedly, Sean and I are not the best on Zoom, but we will try to take questions.
Just before we open up for questions, I'm going to try and unmute Harvey Kaplan, who did want to speak, but I'm not sure if he's available.
Yes, on mute.
Just before, if Harvey lets us, Harvey, you there? Maybe I'll just introduce Harvey. Hopefully he'll come back. So Harvey, I've known Harvey for a long time, and Harvey sits on the board with Stuart. And just before Harvey hopefully talks, we had a long conversation with Harvey and Stuart just regarding how big the placement would be. And they were both Harvey and Stuart are pretty adamant that this would just be a one tranche placement, and they wouldn't take any more than than the $800,000 that we're going to raise. And I think it just shows that they're very confident in what the company's got going for them. And I think, Stuart, I'm not sure if you mentioned, but the current cash will see you through for the next 8 months or so. Is that right?
Post this placement, that should be enough to see us through for 9 to 12 months.
Okay, great. So I think Harvey's now available. Harvey, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, look, it's an exciting time for us. As Greg has pointed out, you know, a few people would suggest we've been slow in terms of doing what we're doing, but the reality is we want to make sure that when we actually spend shareholder money, which is what we're about to do right now, we want to invest that money in the best possible holes that are going to give the company and its shareholders the best chance of success. And so over a period of time, we've been doing work in the background, and we're now at that stage where over the course of the next 12 months, we have 4 significant opportunities to have success. The first one starting, you know, in the next 6 to 8 weeks with Saxby, with Colina, and then also with the joint venture with Fortescue, and also with the East Tenant project as well. So, you know, we're not a one-trick pony. We obviously hope, like everyone, that we're going to have success at Saxby, but in the event that we don't, we still have 3 very significant projects that will give shareholders an opportunity to get bang for their buck.
Great. All right, guys, I've unmuted everyone. So if there are any questions for ourselves, Harvey or Stuart, we'll hang around. Otherwise, thanks for listening in, and yeah, we'll probably close the placement later off tonight or early tomorrow morning. Anyone?
Okay. Okay, well, if nobody has any questions, we're going to wrap up the call. Always, you know, you can contact us, contact Stuart, contact Harvey if you have, you know, if you think of something. And have a great afternoon, everybody. Thanks for your time and thanks for listening in. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.